Hey everybody, I hope that you're all doing well. We are here with a timeless reading. The first card that we have out is King of Wands. And Six of Wands. And the Magician. This feels like acting on an idea and things going successfully. I feel too like this is about allowing your inspiration to speak through the moves that you're making. When we have the Magician, there is going to be an intention to create something, to manifest something, to have something materialize. Because I'm seeing Knight of Wands here, this would be something that feels like, based off of just what's immediately coming up for you, being able to take that energy and channel it in a productive way that's going to translate to you taking action. Because we have the Six of Wands here, it shows you being successful with what you do, like you can pull this off. So especially too, because we're starting off with King of Wands, and so this is the part of you that you really can step into the lane that you want to step into. You can be in the driver's seat, and that you're going to get to the destination that you want to get to. And there can even be something about stepping up and taking hold of things and doing what you want in the first place that can be really important here. Because before we're seeing anything else that's going on, we're just seeing King of Wands and Six of Wands. This can be like you stepping to the plate and taking a swing. That may have been the challenging part. That may have been the difficult part. It could have been you like talking yourself up, or like motivating yourself, or allowing yourself to connect with inspiration enough to even step up in the first place. So you can feel like that in and of itself is important and is a victory for you. That you're doing something, that you're taking action, that you're trusting yourself, and that you're not waiting around. This is about, if you want something to happen, if you want to see something happen, if you want to have some type of experience, that this is you sort of being the mastermind behind that. We have a lot of wands here. Wands are connected with the element of fire. Fire is about what feeds your soul. And so these are moves that you're making that can really fan the flames of your excitement within your life, fan the flames of joy, happiness, creativity, experiences that you want to be having, adventure. There can also be a need for bravery as well. That can be part of it too when we have the wands. Some of you too, this is about not giving up, or not looking at something and being so intimidated that you don't do something about it. It's really taking control and recognizing that you're ready to do this. All of the cards are facing forward, so I feel like there's a lot of movement. I'm not seeing anything look like it's stuck in the past. I'm seeing everything feel like it's present and looking onward, and that there's a fluid movement that's happening here. Like all of the energy is sort of working together. It's like a current that I'm seeing. I want to know more about what was going on with the Six of Wands, like what you were doing that you may have been trying to work through. Maybe something was stuck before, or there could have just been blocks that you needed to clear out in order to move forward. But I'm definitely seeing things move forward now. You can see this as moving forward. You can see this as things progressing. You can see this as like blocks not being there anymore, working through those. With the Magician and Knight of Wands, there would definitely be a vision that's inspiring you to be doing what you're doing and to be taking action. And there's also going to be an element of hope there of, like, if I play my cards right here, something is going to happen. This is what I want. And you can feel like you're thinking clearly as well. I feel too like this is also about getting your mind, your focus, your attention on what's in front of you, and seeing that you have a lot of road in front of you. You have a lot of path in front of you, and that is where you do have control to maneuver and manipulate in a way of being like, I want this to happen, and then doing that, making those moves rather than focusing on the past in a way where like nothing is going to get done. As much as we can sort of reframe things, it feels like this is a focus on like, what can I do now? What can I do now? What can happen now? What do I want my path to look like up ahead? The Magician. These are ideas that we have, ideas that we have for what we want. And I think seeing yourself in that role, like if you want something to be happening, if it's relevant to you now, if you want it now, if there's something that you want to do now, something that you want to act on now, doing it now. I feel like there were mental blocks before that you had to liberate yourself from to do this. Like this can be, maybe you weren't moving forward before because you could have been maybe intimidated by something, maybe not ready to like fully listen to yourself. This could have been focusing on past stuff that could have been creating like mental blocks in a way where it wasn't allowing you to take action presently. It feels like stuff along those lines. You had to psychologically liberate yourself. And I think also see yourself as being the responsible party here for, if you want to act on something, if you want to do something, do it, and seeing yourself as the energy that's going to be in charge of pulling things off. If you want something done, if you want to create something, there can be a deep-seated fear of change that was connected with this. What I'm seeing you come up out of to take action feels like it was connected with fears that, even from a psychological standpoint, could have been doing their job to sort of keep you safe and not changing things. And this feels like allowing for yourself, I think, to embrace that more than anything. This feels even like fears or concerns that could keep you from creating what you want within your life, that would keep you from acting on what you want. Because with the Magician here, I feel like there's an itinerary of some sort. I feel like there's an idea of some sort. I feel like there is a creation of some sort that is coming up from within you, that there's a desire to act on it. But then seeing Nine of Swords here, this can be like, what's going to happen if I really take action on that? And then what's going to change? And what if this falls apart? Or what if that doesn't end up working? It feels like that type of concern that could be keeping you from your Magician energy, essentially, which is going to be the part of you that you have ideas, you have thoughts, you want to act on them, you want to make things happen. And it feels like this process has been about even looking at those things and breaking them down, rather than being like, I'm scared and running away from it. This feels like really looking into it and saying like, what am I so scared of? where do I think this is going to go? And really taking that apart, like piece by piece, which can feel kind of intense to be doing, to be working with an energy so dense, but also too, this being the way that you sort of unlock this power within you to unleash it. Why am I so scared to take action? What am I worried about? What am I worried about? As like this Nine of Swords, it has one part of its gaze is looking at the past and one part of its gaze is looking at the future. And so these can be both of these things, like worrying about what could change as far as like what you have going on now, and then also too concerns about like the future and what would be happening then. And it feels like all of this together. So there can be a past part of this, there can be a future part of this, but none of it looks like it's sort of looking head on in a way. And because Nine of Swords is connected with things, essentially thoughts essentially, that we sort of put pins on that keep us from moving forward, or can, at least for a moment, can kind of trip us up in that moment that we're experiencing it, potentially. This feels like letting this sort of all come apart. Like rather than things that you're worried about being a solid structure that create a solid block, this feels like piece by piece, like brick by brick, undoing it and taking it apart, and then seeing it for what it is, and then allowing yourself to sort of step over it and move forward. And then nothing gets in your way. I'm seeing Eight of Wands after that. Yeah, this could have definitely been a concern about actually moving forward, even though there's this piece of you that's like, I do want to move forward. I want things to continue. I don't want to be stuck here necessarily. At the same time, it feels like there were things going on that may have been possibly reinforcing that for you, and this looks like working through it to move forward, to not let yourself get in your own way here. You may have to stare death in the face in order to do this. When I say that, what I mean is there can be, if you truly allow yourself to initiate this, this can mean that there's going to be a big paradigm shift within your life. We're ending with the Death card, but the card on the bottom of the deck is Page of Wands, which means that you have to allow the things that it's their time now. Like, yeah, it's their time now to allow that to be happening, to allow that to be unfolding, so you can move forward with things. Page of Wands can also be the thing that you're wanting to reach here, which can be the path that you want to be on, and allowing these things to happen. There's some like major Scorpio energy here. We have Death, which is connected with Scorpio. We also have Judgment, which is Pluto, which rules currently anyway in the modern system. We have Pluto, which rules Scorpio. And so having these energies here, this feels like a mind matrix that you're sort of working with here to liberate yourself from. It feels like anything that would mentally be keeping you stuck from taking action, from seeing that you are in charge and that you do get to guide the direction of things. And even if there's inaction, you're still choosing that. And this feels like stepping up to take action in the way that you want to, moving through fears that you have that are associated with making moves that you want to make presently, getting out of your own way to allow things that you want really to be happening by taking inspired action. which I feel too, like once you get past, it feels like just the mental blocks. Once you get past the mental blocks, this feels very much like the things that you're doing. I'm seeing Magician and I'm seeing Eight of Wands. This means like the things that you intend to be doing, that you want to be creating, that you want to make happen, it moves very quickly. It feels like the only stuff that gets in the way of you being on the path that you want to be on and be striving for where you're striving for is really the fear stuff that comes up. And I think it's fear stuff that's associated with certain routes that you could have been taking before that it may be time for you to be getting off of them. And this feels like allowing yourself to be brave and initiate the type of change that you want to initiate. We can want things to be different and then feel like, but I don't want to have to do something different. I don't want to have to make that choice. When we have King of Wands, this is all about choice, decision, control, us being in charge. That's what the fire is about. Us being in charge of ourselves, us being in charge of our life, us being in charge of what it is that we want to be creating, what it is that we want to be experiencing, and from a place of I feel happy about this, or I feel excited about this. This is something that I want to do. This is something that moves me. And there are different ways that we can be moved too. We can be moved by fear. That can be something that inspires us. We can also be moved by excitement. We can be moved by desire. We can be moved by inspiration. I feel like this would be to allowing yourself to really stare death in the face here and move forward with things rather than looking at it and running in the opposite direction and like moving back into things. This feels like seeing that this is here right now in the present moment, coming face to face with it, sort of shaking hands with it, which feels like coming to peace with this energy. And allowing yourself to move forward. The vision that I'm getting here with the energy, like how I'm seeing the cards come alive, it feels like King of Wands has built certain things within their life. This is you. You are King of Wands. King of Wands has built certain things within their life. Now, they're sort of stepping out of the little life community that has been built. It like has these certain buildings, certain places that King of Wands has frequented. There can be like people involved in this or jobs that are involved in this. It's like a whole sort of system there. I'm seeing King of Wands sort of going outside, stepping out to the perimeter of that, and like at the gate, at the perimeter, death has arrived, and it looks like they're going to be like switching roles a little bit. Like King of Wands is saying, come on death, like come through and do your thing. And I feel like death is going to make the necessary changes to the system, but we have to give that permission, and it feels like that's all it is giving permission. If you accept the role of moving with the flow of things and being true to yourself and what you want and what you feel and what really feels right for you, this is a self-organizing principle. It's not like you have to go out and say, this is going to change, this is going to happen, that's going to happen now. This feels like just acting on what it is that you want to initiate, and by proxy, the change is going to happen. But we have to allow that. And this is also too about being true to yourself and what you want and where you want to be. Why I'm saying where you want to be is that we have Page of Wands, and I see Page of Wands pretty much always as being the path that we want to be on. And you can say right now, there may be some stuff going on. Maybe you're not exactly on the path that you want to be on. For some of you, there can be a path that you're looking at that you're like, I'm actually interested and I do kind of want to step onto there. And there may be some stuff that needs to happen in order for you to do that. And this is about doing those things to allow that to happen so you can be on that path that you want to be on. And when we connect with a path that is that is connected with the Page of Wands. This is a path that we're on that we feel over the moon about being on that path. It's something that it feels right. It feels like you have your life force back and your energy back. It's something that has you feeling excited to wake up and live your life when we're on that path of exploring what the Page of Wands is. It gives you something to do. It's something that we find to be entertaining. It's something that can feel like an adventure, and it's also something that sparks. It gets things firing within us, and it also is something where it allows us to express ourselves genuinely. That's also another thing with the fire too. So this can also be, and is there anything that I'm doing that where I'm not expressing myself genuinely? Is there anything that I'm doing where I'm just sort of sitting back and letting things happen, where maybe I want to act on something, but then I'm sort of just keeping myself sat there not doing anything? This can be a feeling of maybe watching your life sort of pass you by at times. Stepping up, taking charge, and allowing your vision come to life by doing this. I will say, to have the Death card, this can mean that a very big shift is going to be happening in your life. At the same time, you can say that's just a necessary part of me being on the path that I want to be on. And life becoming all the more interesting for it. But yeah, there can definitely be some needing to, I think, allow yourself to come to terms with that part, because it feels like it's not like this is just change to have change. This feels like something within you is coming up and saying, I want to go that way. And if you do go that way, Death is saying, I'm going to come through and I'm going to have to move some things around. But that's just a part of, like, if you want to go this way, you want to go this way. Whether things changed or not, you wanted to go this way. It just feels like Death is just a piece of that is like a natural element, a natural archetype that's going to be infused in this process, just because that's part of what this would be for you. So there can be a part of you that's like, well, I want to go that way, but maybe I don't want certain things to change. And it feels like needing to be okay with that, needing to be comfortable with that. And I think needing to get to a place where there's a willingness to allow this, because it's part of this type of process for you. This can mean too that you're going to be taking more initiative than you had been before, or I think allowing maybe some more bold moves than you had been allowing before of yourself. You know too that the most difficult part can be the actual changing part, but when you get over to the other side of it, there's that relief of being like, yes, I did it. I'm so happy that I did it. And now I'm here and this is where I want to be. And I just had to do that. I had to be willing to do that to be here now. And this is what I wanted. And so it's always worth it. It's not like you're being called in a certain direction and then you feel like this was all a waste. I shouldn't have done this. You get to the other side and you're like, it was worth it. This was where I wanted to be. And I'm glad that I did. And you know that you've gone through major changes before too. And when you think back to it, your life is better for it. When there have been things that you wanted to do and you've allowed yourself to be brave and to be decisive and to act on what you wanted to act on, what that allowed, the things that it allowed to bring into your life, and also the things that were ready to be removed as well. And allowing that to happen. I think sometimes we can keep things around just for the comfort of having something familiar around too. And this may be checking that part of yourself, saying like, are you really happy with that? Are you really Is this something that motivates you within your life? Is this something that brings that connection with your life, or are these just things that you're keeping around to keep around? And will you let the fire guide you, or will you let the anxiety guide you? Which one is it going to be? For some of you too, something that I'm seeing here is that there's a really big mental shift that's happening. And so what this can mean is that you may want some very new or very different things for yourself within your life. Why I'm saying that is because I'm seeing Judgment and I'm seeing the Magician. So this is about like what you currently have going on, but I feel like it's more so even focusing on like what you want now and what that means for you. Like what is the vision that you have now? What are these ideas that you have now? What do you want life to look like now in the present moment? And because of having Judgment here, I wonder if this is a bit different than things that you had going on before. You can feel maybe like what's important to you right now, or what you see for your life right now, or what feels relevant to you right now, resonating with you currently within your life right now. There may be a bit of a shift here, but there can also be this like feeling scared of that shift a little bit, especially if it's different, because it like, then what does that mean for you? And that can be part of this too. Because there can be some unanswered questions, but you're just working with what you need to work with. You're not being given anything more than what you need to be focused on, mindful of, working with in the moment. So yes, there can be some unknowns, there can be some unanswered questions, but I feel like you have everything that you need to have for now to be working with this. And it comes down to, I think, like ultimately what choice you're going to make here, because this is feeling like, what are we going to do here with this? Is this something that you are going to entrust yourself to do? And are you going to allow yourself to come to terms with what's involved in this? Or is this something that you're going to look at and turn away from and be like, nope, this is just like too much, or it's too big, or it's too much change for me, and I don't want to do it. The thing is, though, that I almost feel like you kind of can't unsee it a bit. So I don't really see this going away. So it may actually just be a matter of time. It feels like maybe you can't go back to the way that things were necessarily, but you get to decide sort of what you do with this now. I would say that having drive and having something that feels like motivation will really help you to find it within you to do this. It even feels like looking forward to something connected with this as well. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.